To better understand why there are absolute secrets that should never be shared with anyone, not even parents, spouses, or those we love most, let us listen to the following two stories. Vancock Village lay hidden behind 3 mountain ranges, perennially shrouded in mist like blue smoke. In the village lived a young man named How, orphaned by his father since childhood, who lived with his mother in a thatched roof house nestled beside the oldest banyan tree in the village. How was quiet, reserved, and lived as gently as well water. He earned a living by carrying firewood for hire and gathering wild vegetables to sell at the market, just enough to get by. The villagers liked him for his diligence, but everyone said How's fate was to be persistently poor. How's childhood best friend was Ha, from a slightly better-off family, quick-witted, smooth-tongued, and prone to dreaming big. Ha would often pull How behind the pagoda, point to the mountains, and say, "I hear there's gold and treasure up there. If we find it, our lives will change." Ha would only smile faintly, his gaze distant. He didn't believe in luck falling from the sky. Until one day, under a sky heavy with rain, How ventured deeper into the forest than usual to find dry firewood. While climbing over a moss-covered boulder, he slipped and fell into a small crevice between 2 rock faces. When he came to his senses, How was astonished to find himself lying amidst a patch of strange plants, knee-high, with deep red stems and leaves that exuded a gentle fragrance, like cinnamon mixed with ginger. He broke off a branch and tucked it into his pocket, his heart pounding. The next day, How went to the district town to find an old herbalist rumored to be an expert in medicinal plants. Upon seeing the plant root, the herbalist's eyes lit up as if he had encountered a treasure. "Where did you find this? This is Huit Lien Sam, a medicinal plant more precious than gold, capable of curing both pancreatic failure and heart poisoning." How didn't answer, only asking, "If I sell it, how much would I get?" The herbalist nodded and placed a heavy pouch of silver on the table. How took it without a word, merely nodding slightly before turning away. From that day on, How's life changed. His house was newly rebuilt, spacious, with tiled roofs and brick floors. His mother had new clothes to wear, and their meals now included braised fish and boiled meat. How went to the district market, bought a few old books, and brought them home to read under the oil lamp. Ha dropped by and saw his friend wearing fine clothes, his hands smelling of medicinal oil. "Did you strike it rich, How? Has your life changed?" Ha just smiled faintly and poured his friend a hot bowl of tea. "Just got lucky." But one rainy night, after a few cups of local rice wine, How let slip a vague remark. "There's a plant on the mountain that no one should know about." Ha laughed heartily, patting his friend's shoulder. "Come on, old man, what are you hiding from me?" How remained silent, his eyes fixed on the distant, cloud-shrouded, forbidden mountain. That night, after Ha had left, How went into the bedroom, pulled a cloth bag from under the bamboo bed platform, and gave his mother a few silver coins. When his mother asked where he got so much money, he whispered, "I sold a forest medicinal plant worth 1,000 gold pieces from the mountain. Mother, don't tell anyone." The mother just nodded, overjoyed that her son's fortunes had turned, never suspecting that since How's life had changed, Ha could not find peace. Every night he tossed and turned, unable to sleep. In his mind, the image of the plant on the mountain clung to him like smoke to clothing, impossible to shake off. Ha was naturally astute, quick-witted, and sharp, but this time he felt left behind. He couldn't accept it. One early morning, he went to How's house, bringing a basket of oranges as a gift for his friend's mother. While she was boiling water, Ka whispered, as if casually, "How seems different lately, Auntie. I'm happy for him. Do you know what business he's in to get rich so quickly?" The honest mother, not thinking deeply, just smiled kindly. He said he sold some kind of medicinal plant from a crevice near the foot of the mountain, some kind of ginseng, very precious. Ha sat silently for a moment. Then he thanked her, poured more water for the old woman, and took his leave. His eyes revealed a strange glint, shimmering like a glass about to overflow. 2 days later, Ha went into the mountains again. Same time, same cloth basket on his back, old brown shirt, bare feet treading the familiar rocky path. But this time, someone else was silently following him. Ha. He followed the footprints, moving through the forest and tall grass like a predator stalking its prey. Around noon, Ha bent down by the rock crevice and began to dig with his hands in the soft earth around the base of the red plant. Sweat dripped from his forehead, but his eyes shone as if he were performing a familiar, beautiful ritual. Beautiful indeed, Ha's voice sounded from behind him. Ha startled and turned, stunned to see his friend standing a few paces away, his eyes a mixture of admiration and cunning. "You followed me from the village?" Ha asked, his voice not angry, just tinged with disbelief. "I just wanted to know the truth, Ha. You've lived with me for so many years. What is there to hide?" Ha looked at Ha for a long moment. The mountain wind blew through the leaves, rustling like whispering voices. He bent down, tucked the freshly dug plant into his bag, and said quietly, "Some things, the fewer people know, the fewer bad things happen." Ha sneered. "Or are you afraid I'll change my life like you did?" That sentence hung in the air like a slash. In an instant, Ha's eyes darkened. Then he lunged forward, pushing Ha hard. Ha stumbled, his basket falling before him. His body slid down the wet rock slope, letting out only a short "ah" before he disappeared into the heart of the mountain. Everything then became silent, as if the forbidden mountain had never swallowed anyone. Ka stood there for a long time, then slowly walked over, picked up the basket, and gathered the remaining roots. His hand trembled slightly, his eyes lit up, and he thought to himself, "You deserved this, Ha. Die for your selfishness." From that day, Ka disappeared from the village for a while. A few weeks later, he returned wearing a new silk robe, saying he had gone to the provincial capital to open a medicinal herb shop. The villagers watched him, remarking, "Ka's also destined for fortune." No one asked about how. Only his old mother still remembered. She still lit the lamp every evening, cooked an extra bowl of rice for her son. Whenever anyone asked, she would smile and say, "He said he went up the mountain for a few days to gather some precious herbs, then he'll be back." Months later, people claimed to see a figure resembling Halo standing on the summit of Forbidden Mountain at dusk, carrying a basket, his hair loose, wearing a brown shirt. But when they got closer, there was nothing, only the wind and the scent of forest leaves remaining. As for Ka, he did become rich. His house was grand, his doors wide, and guests came in droves. But every night he had to burn incense and keep the lights on all night. Once, his wife recounted that in the middle of the night he would bolt upright, drenched in sweat as if he'd been doused, muttering, "I didn't mean to, I didn't want to, don't look at me like that." The old mother passed away during the rainy season the following year. Before she closed her eyes, she still asked, "Has my son come home yet? There's rice tonight, remember to come home and eat." No one answered. Only the wind from Forbidden Mountain blew past, cold and salty like an unshed tear. The ancients had a saying, "Sincerity doesn't always mean telling the truth, and the truth isn't always something that should be known." Hao's story is a silent but haunting slice of life, reminding us of the price of secrets revealed to the wrong person at the wrong time. Hao didn't hide it out of greed, nor did he keep it for himself out of selfishness. He simply understood that some things should be buried in the earth, like that medicinal plant growing in the rock crevice, thriving in darkness and silence. But his mother, inherently without guile, only thought her son was lucky, not knowing that some secrets, no matter how innocent, can become disastrous once spoken. Ka, Hao's best friend, was not evil from the start. He had eaten meals with Hao's mother, had carried Hao across streams when they were children. But the human heart is easily changed when faced with profit and when envy creeps into it. Friendship, too, becomes thorny. There are things that even parents shouldn't know, not because they are untrustworthy, but because they might reveal them in a moment of innocence, and that is enough to open the door to disaster. Hao was right to remain silent. It's just a pity he believed that kinship would keep a promise. But it was his mother's very honesty, not malice, that inadvertently pushed events too far. That story reminds us that a secret is like an underground stream. If contained, it nourishes the fields. If revealed to the wrong person, it can sweep away the entire village. Not everyone has ill intentions, but the human heart is not made of stone. It is earth. When it absorbs too much water, it will slide. Therefore, in life, there are things that need to be kept to oneself, not out of fear, but out of understanding that silence at the right time is a form of love and protection. Hao never returned, but in every story passed down at the foot of Forbidden Mountain, people still tell each other, if you have something precious, let it grow silently within your heart, like a medicinal plant. Don't dig it up for others to see. Dongthong village was inherently peaceful. Rice paddies flowered in season, pigs and chickens made their usual noises, and the villagers spoke softly. Big matters were made small, and small matters were dismissed. But it was in this tranquil place that a story was still whispered around the hearth fire every cold, windy season. A story of a man who was once wealthy and a wife who once misspoke. Lam Hong was a well-known wealthy farmer. His fields stretched from the foot of the mountain to the edge of the village. He owned dozens of buffalo and cows, and his granaries were full of rice. People respected him not for his wealth, but because he lived reliably, spoke little, and kept his word. He would lend to anyone in hardship without interest, help rebuild roofs after storms, and mend broken dikes after floods. His wife, Ba Chao, was a kind, hard-working, and cheerful woman, her only fault being that she talked too much. She had 3 or 4 close friends, and every afternoon they would gather by the village well, gossiping about everything from the district market to the affairs of the mandarin's office. One night, while having dinner with his wife under the oil lamp, Ong Lam suddenly sighed. "The other day, I hid several dozen sacks of rice in the patch behind the garden. I'll wait for the price to go up before selling. Selling now would only get me half the effort's worth." Ba Chao nodded, not thinking much of it. Ong Lam didn't elaborate. To him, it was just a business matter. But the next day, while doing laundry with her friends by the well, Ba Chao blurted out, "My husband is so clever. He hid a whole store of rice behind the garden, waiting for the price to rise. Everyone in our village should learn from him." Her friends nodded, but one of them, Ba Tam Li, was the sister-in-law of a clerk at the district office. In her hands, the story became, Ong Lam was hiding rice, not declaring it to the village, plotting to speculate and profit, and even smuggling rice out to sell in another province. That news, like a cold, persistent north wind, reached the district mandarin's ears. After just 3 days, the mandarin, who was eager to clean up the locality to gain favor with his superiors, led soldiers to Ong Lam's house that night to inspect it while they were threshing rice. The hidden rice behind the garden was discovered. But it didn't stop there. Upon inspecting the account books, the soldiers found that a portion of land Ong Lam had been cultivating since his father's time had not been re-registered according to proper procedures. It was a small matter, common enough, but when one is determined to find fault, even an ant can be magnified into an elephant. The verdict came faster than a storm. Ong Lam was accused of speculation, tax evasion, occupying public land, and colluding with merchants. The death sentence was pronounced in front of the village communal house. The day her husband was taken away, Ba Chao collapsed in the courtyard of the communal house, unable to even cry. Her eyes were bloodshot, her mouth trembled, repeating over and over, It was just a few sacks of rice. I only told my friends for fun." But the words had been spoken, carried away by the wind. That wind did not return, leaving only an empty house, unthreshed rice in the granary, and meals no longer accompanied by the sound of her husband's chopsticks. Later, the villagers said An Lam died because of the rice, but in truth, he died because of his wife's words. They didn't blame Ba Chao, but everyone understood. Some secrets need to be kept, not because they are bad, but because words, once released, no longer belong to us. An Lam's story is not just about an unjust death, but the price paid for a slip of the tongue, a trust misplaced. Ba Chao didn't harm her husband with a knife, nor did she push him off a cliff. She merely told a story she thought harmless to someone she thought was close. But not everyone who listens knows how to keep a secret. Some people have soft ears but loose lips. They don't intentionally cause disaster, but they become the kindling for the fire. The words from Ba Chao's mouth fell into the ears of Ba Tam Li, a person who liked to retell everything in a more captivating way. And from there, the truth began to distort. And as everyone knows, when a false story reaches the ears of a mandarin, the truth no longer matters. Only power and the outcome do. The lesson is not just for the wife, but for all of us. Not every secret can be shared, and not every loved one is a safe repository for our words. Remaining silent with those who are not discreet is the best way to protect oneself. Words may seem as light as the wind, but if spoken to the wrong person at the wrong time, they can weigh down a lifetime like a stone tied to an innocent person's leg. Therefore, before you speak, remember, keeping something in your heart can save a person. A slip of the tongue can bury a household. And sometimes, silence is the most enduring way to express love and protection.